My name's Dave Dubeau, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey folks, you've been around for a while. You know, one of my favorite topics to talk about is raising private capital. So you're in for a big treat today because Andy Borses is zooming in from beautiful Santa Clarita, California. And Andy is a real estate syndicator. He's a capital raiser, and he's written a new book called The Common Thread Method, a proven approach to raising capital through authentic connections. Andy, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right. Before we start talking about the common thread method, tell us a little bit about what real estate investing looks like for you. It's early days, 2025. What kind of deals do you do? What kind of syndications? And what's your role in the GP setup?
So the kind of deals we look for now, because of where we're at in the economy, is mostly seller financing. And we're looking for, it's hard to find a unicorn, but when you find one,
jump on it.
Jump on it. And that's kind of where we're at. So we've been really picky about what we're looking for these days, because conventional financing is great. I don't want to, put a dark light on that, but it's a better deal if you could find somebody who's hurting, who's, distressed, and kind of get them out of that pain that they're having. And that's kind of what my team looks for. We're doing one in Dallas right now that's a unicorn. So
what size properties are you guys typically looking for that kind of fit that criteria?
Well, usually 60 and above. This one's smaller, but we can build up. So usually 60 and above. The largest one we have is a 96 unit in Northern Kentucky, which was seller financing. That was a unicorn.
Okay.
So I have an amazing team that finds these deals, and obviously I have to analyze them, but myself, so I understand what the metrics are. But that's really where we're at right now.
So are you a co-GP in these projects, or what's your role in these projects typically?
Yes, I'm a co-GP in all of the projects. I'm an LP on a couple of them as well. So GP LP.
Got it.
Right. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, you've written a book about raising capital, so I'm assuming that that's a big part of your responsibilities as part of the co-GP team. So let's just dive right in and talk about your common thread method. So big, broad strokes, kind of 30,000 foot perspective. It sounds to me like it's all about making these genuine connections with people. So what does that, I mean, that sounds great, but what does that look like?
Well, so, we all go to these conferences, like the best ever's happening now, or whenever's or a couple, other ones during the year. And a couple of years ago, I just heard everybody talking about what they did, not who they are. And so that was the seed of the book, because I wanted to know who people are before I start getting into business with them, because everybody's rattling off, I have this, I have that, I have this, I have $200 million under assets under management. I'm like, whoa, stop. Who are you first?
Yeah. Okay.
So it was really about doing the research on what the thread is that ties us together while we're all here in this business, and what that thread is when you're looking for an investor, that you can start that conversation with them and not just jump into being a used car salesman.
Okay, good. I was at one of those kind of conferences not that long ago, so I can resonate exactly with what you're saying. And I can say I was probably guilty of doing the same thing myself. So yeah, this is definitely resonating. So, okay, it's all about making that deeper connection, finding out who the person is, not just what they've got under management, what they've done, but who they are as a person.
Right.
So how does that kind of translate into a way of raising capital?
So I also teach on Monday nights. I teach a capital raising class on Monday nights as well. And my students are learning that it's really about not sell me this pen, right? It's really about 7 touch points. And some people will agree with that. Some people disagree with that. But it truly is the 7 touch points that I believe makes it to the final line when you're raising capital for a deal. It's people want to know who I am first, and I know that's universal, and we all talk about that. But you really need to know what the trust is in that relationship, and that human connection in the relationship, and then how do you engage, and what's the rapport. So the thread is actually an acronym. I just went through some of them, right?
Sure. Well, why don't we go through what THREAD stands for? Because I think that'd be helpful.
Sure. So, trust, human connection, rapport, emotional intelligence, authenticity, which is huge, right? Because that's what I talk about a lot is be your authentic self, right? And then doing the work.
Hmm.
So it's an acronym.
Yeah, perfect. No, that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's assume maybe we're not at the best ever conference because I find those conferences to be very incestuous. Everybody's trying to raise capital, so it's
Absolutely. Yeah.
kind of like a chum in a Shark Tank. So let's say you're at your local chamber of commerce and you've connected with an accredited somebody who's probably an accredited investor, a successful business owner or professional, and you'd like to kind of see if there might be a connection there towards them potentially becoming an investor. So using this THREAD acronym in your methodology, what might that look like to actually follow your process, Andy?
Well, the process is really what is the rapport that we have between us? What is that common connection? So I'll ask questions instead of
Mm,
telling people what I do, and then I'll shut up and listen to what their answer is and find that connection. Now, that could be they love skiing, they love vacationing in Tahoe, they like Italy, and so if I can listen for that one hint of something that I can authentically talk about and not be a used car salesman, but honestly, authentically say, I've been there or I've done that or my kid's done that. That is the start. That's the seed of trust.
okay, cool. So you're listening. So you're asking kind of questions beyond the what do you do, which is
Yeah,
kind of typical at that networking type event. And it's
right,
more like what do you like to do or what are you into? And you're
right.
looking for that connectivity, that common thread.
Yeah, I'm probing for answers of what that seed would be.
Yeah.
And if I don't get it, obviously, it's that's on me because I'm not doing a good enough job of asking the right questions. And sometimes women are a lot better at that than men are. So you have to adapt.
Yeah. I hear you, man. I hear you. Okay, very good. So let's say they're talking with you and you found a commonality. What would be an example for example that resonates with you? Like I'm looking at your backdrop there. Obviously a big time collector into Captain America,
Right.
on all sorts of these kind of things. So let's say somebody connected on that level. Where how would you take it to the next step there?
So I have 30 years in the TV and film industry. That's why you see this.
Okay, very
Okay.
cool.
So I have worked on some of this stuff in special effects and or broadcast or stuff like that. So that's why you see this. So if like I had a bunch of people here on Sunday and I brought them up to the room and they're like, oh, my kids would love. And so you find that deep down inside, we're all weird and
Yeah.
we're Goonies, right? So if
We
I was
all
having
geek
a
out on something. Yep.
We all, so if you're a baseball, that kind of, but for this kind of thing is I'd be listening for or asking those questions about, like, hey, where'd you take your kids to the movies? What was the last movie they saw? Did you enjoy that? And see where that takes me.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So keeping the conversation going. So you've got, let's say you've got some common ground.
Hmm.
Then what? Then how do you kind of you talk about the seven touch points and moving things along. How do we progress this closer to them actually cutting a check for our deals?
So I'm looking for the pain point.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
looking for, yes, I love doing all this stuff but things are getting so expensive. The cost of eggs are getting expensive. Like my kids. Um, I had a guy that told me he couldn't invest in something because the college that his daughter wanted to go was $50,000 more than he expected. So
Hmm.
I'm looking for those hints of that pain that, okay, so how do we make your money work for you then? So that 50,000 you can take in double or triple that 50,000 so you'll have her or his college education. And that's not a sales thing. It really is. I seriously want to help them because I've been there myself. And I think
Yeah.
that that's the difference is if your heart is there and you truly want to help people get out of their pain, because there's different levels of pain, right? I'm just giving you one.
Yeah. Yeah. No, most definitely. Okay. Very good. So I don't know about your experience, Andy, but mine has been typically, you meet somebody new that doesn't know you, and you connect with them, you create that rapport. It's still probably going to be a little while and
Hmm.
take a few steps before they cut you a check for 100 grand to invest
Absolutely.
in your real estate deal. So what's kind of your process taking somebody from just brand new connection through to actual investor?
Well, if they live close by,
Yeah.
right, or they live within a 50-mile radius, I'll obviously, put together a dinner or lunch or, some people up in this part of the world love wine. So we do that, right? And if you live far away, then I will, put a newsletter together. I have templates of newsletters or I have templates of emails that I send out after the call. Sorry, excuse me. After the initial meeting with them.
Mhm.
So, I've created these templates that I will send out, like I said, and they're very specific about when we met. I make notes. Obviously, Blink is one of the greatest things ever. If you don't have Blink, get it because you can scan a QR code and then put notes in exactly the conversation you had with that person so that when you go back and you email or you text them, you're following up, hey, how's the kids? Right? Did
Yeah.
you guys go on vacation? How was that? So you're right. It's not, I don't hit them up for $100,000 in that moment. It, like I said, it's that 7 touch points, but it's always follow up text or email or phone call.
And what have you found to be an effective kind of cadence for these kind of follow-up communications, Andy? Because I know myself, I suck at follow-up. That's something I gotta get better at. I think most people suck at follow-up. Sounds like it's something that you're better at than the rest of us. What do
Oh
you
no, I
find is
suck
good?
at it too. I just
So
I, I just learned to use technology so I don't
yeah,
suck as bad.
yeah.
So there's an Alexa right here to my right, and I will tell her when I need to follow up with people and she'll remind me. So I'm using technology to help me do that. And I have a spreadsheet. So yes, I suck at it too because if I don't write it down somewhere, it doesn't get done, or we all get distracted with life, right?
Well,
But
that's brilliant telling Alexa because that really is smart. That's so simple yet so smart, right? And
yeah.
it saves it up in the cloud and then spits it back out at you six
So
months down the road or whatever it is, right? Yeah.
it honestly works. I'll just say I can't say it now because she'll answer.
Okay, so for kind of cadence, I hear this 7 touch points. I've heard that a lot. In fact, these days I'm hearing because we're so inundated with stuff, it might even be double that, like
It
13
might.
or
Yeah.
14 touch point kind of thing. But it sounds like you've kind of got a bit of a cadence. Have you found anything that works well for staying in touch, but without coming across as creepy or needy?
Well, funny enough, there is a big chapter in the book about don't be needy,
Yeah.
right?
Needy is creepy. That's,
Needy is creepy.
yeah.
So I always I use humor as a way
Okay.
not to do that, right? Like, oh my God, this happened and I thought about you or whatever, or this happened today and whatever that joke is that I'm thinking about, I'll email them or hey, there's so many places I can contact you. I don't know where to find you, so I'm just going to contact you everywhere because it's true.
Yeah.
So if we use humor to our advantage, it makes it less creepy.
Okay, so you're finding some sort of a joke, something resonates, and then now, are you doing this onesie or are you kind of focused on, hey, I've got 27 people I need to follow up with, and everybody's getting the joke, but their own little personalized thing that goes
Mm,
along with it, or what? How do you kind of,
I know a lot of people go high level and they love doing that. I'm a very like I do it myself
yeah,
because I think the one-on-one approach is better because it just feels right,
yeah,
right? Than doing a generic one and just tweaking it. So I have go high level, don't get me wrong, I do. I have a whole database in there and I have to send out newsletters to my investors and I use it for that. But when I'm meeting somebody for the first time, or I have 20 people, like I just came back from Race Fest, I have 120 people I have to contact.
yeah, exactly. So that's my
Yeah.
question. how do you keep those 120 people kind of, you know,
Well, again, Alexa helps. Do not say anything. Um, I cheat now because I'm
yeah,
going to use technology to what we need it to be, and I use ChatGPT.
yeah,
So I am forming. You can do voice now on ChatGPT. You can also do it on your phone.
yeah.
So as I'm thinking about that person or I'm driving or whatever, I'll pick up ChatGPT and I'll voice text what I want them to say, and then have it for later when I come home, so I can manipulate that email.
Got it. Okay. Very, very smart. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What have you found, Andy, that kind of works best for you for like how many of these new connections can you juggle at any one time nicely? Like you just brought on 120 connections from Raise Fest, but chances are, unless you were a speaker there and they kind of all came up to you, you didn't have time to really connect with 120 people. I don't think, unless you
No,
got
no,
some
no.
special skill.
I'd be lying to you if I did.
Yeah.
But you know how those go, right?
Yeah, you got 120 business cards
Yeah.
or scanned
It,
120. Yeah.
it's speed dating.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. It's speed dating, and that's why you have to make notes. And I find it really interesting that the people that want to touch you back, and I don't, that did not come out right. Never mind. The people that want to have,
Reconnect with you. Yeah.
reconnect with you,
Yeah.
they will make it a point to reconnect with you. And the people that were just there to hand out cards aren't going to do that. So,
Which I don't know about you, but I found that's the vast majority. Like
yeah,
you hear crickets
yeah.
out of those 120 people, maybe five might actually follow up kind of thing.
And that's the metric, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So maybe out of that 120, you get five legit
Yeah,
solid connections. And
yeah,
then you're focusing on those folks.
yeah.
But at least you've made an attempt with the other 115. Is that what I'm understanding?
I have reached out to probably 72 people so far on that
Wow.
list.
Yeah.
And I have many calls that are scheduled on Calendly for that. Yeah.
Nice. 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 Nice.
So, but it's not going to be more than probably 10 people if I had to guess.
Yeah. No, that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. Okay. So with your experience following this process, Andy, and everybody's going to be different, but I know when I'm working with capital raisers, usually it's like, hey, I need to raise 2 million bucks yesterday. There's very little patience in the 7, 9, 14 touches that are required. You and I both know this isn't usually a wham bam, cut me a check, thank you, ma'am
No.
situation. So, realistically, how long should people be ready to wait for somebody to actually turn into an investor? Give it, I know it's all across the board, but
Well,
short. I mean, it could be years and years, but what would be like the minimum length of time that you would expect?
I'll give you an example. I met somebody at an event probably in November.
Okay, so at this point, that's 4 months ago, 3 or 4 months
Yeah.
ago, right? Yeah,
Um, and then I had a deal come up probably around middle of February, but I was talking to him the entire time
yeah,
because we had really good talks at this event, and he didn't want to be an LP anymore. He wanted to be a GP. He was done being an LP. And so I said, look, next time I have a deal where, you come as a GP, I'm going to keep you in mind. So the
mhm,
deal came up, but it was about 3.5 or 4 months. So it's not a wham bam, thank you, ma'am. It's up to you to keep that alive.
yeah, for
Right?
sure.
You're not dangling a carrot, but you're saying, hey, you know what? I don't have anything right now, but I know that I've got stuff coming down the pipeline that we can talk about that fits your avatar or fits whatever you're looking for.
Yeah, very, very good.
Yeah.
So, Andy, we've been talking a lot about one-on-one communications. Do you do anything that's like one to many as well? You talked a little bit about newsletters. Are there other
Mhm.
ways that you touch or connect with these people that maybe isn't quite as personalized?
Well, when we do our webinars for our properties that we have, we'll invite those people. So sometimes we'll get two people because
Mhm.
sometimes that's all you'll get, and sometimes we've had 25 on a call for a property. So there's that. Also, again, like I said, I teach on Monday nights, so I have people that come into that as well. So I'm meeting new people there. I'm getting ready to do a webinar for kids called Rise by 25, which is for 16 to 25-year-olds, which I'm really proud of, to help them learn financial literacy through what we're doing here.
Very cool. That
Yeah.
is awesome. Well, Andy, this has been a lot of fun. I'm going to recommend that if people are interested in learning your methodology for raising capital, uh, how can they get a copy of your book? What's the best way for them to do that?
Well, it's on Audible now, which I'm really proud of. I did not voice that because I hate what I sound like, but
You
it's on
sound fine to
Audible.
me, man.
Uh, so the book's on Amazon. I can send you the link later, and it's also on Audible, which is awesome. But if you go to the website, thecommonthreadmethod.org, there's also a free workbook that's got like 30 pages in it, right? That's pretty cool. So,
Awesome. So that's commonthreadmethod.org. Is that correct?
yeah,
Perfect. Andy, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for being on the show.
it's amazing. Thank you for having me. Great conversation. Love it.
All right, everybody, take care. We'll see you on the next episode. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now, at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.